All right. What's up, my lovely people? Hope you are having a great day. The temperature here in London is 29 degrees. Fantastic, brilliant summer day. Hope it lasts. So, yeah, I mean, I want to talk a little bit today about some like ongoing issues or current news, basically. Not something I do usually. Usually, if a community member says something, then I'll reply back to that, or maybe I'll do some sort of a trend analysis or whatnot. But this is kind of a broader thing. So I'm not going to involve trend, but I may mention a few cryptos here and there, right? So understand where I'm coming from. So this video is going to be like a broad thing. We're going to talk a little bit about Gary Gensler. We're going to talk a little bit about the current BlackRock, the biggest fund management on the planet. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk a little bit about Michael Saylor as well. And kind of my conspiracy theory, if you want to call that, or my personal theories on what's really going on. So, yeah, I mean, okay, let's talk about this, right? So, to start off with, we'll talk about Gary Gensler, right? Start off with him, and then we're going to move over to Michael Saylor, BlackRock, right? So, stick with me, you understand where I'm coming from. So, I've been kind of pondering a little bit, thinking, Gary Gensler is a very, very intelligent man. Everything he's done up to now with crypto and the regulations and all the drama that's going on, he knows the outcome. So someone who knows the outcome, why would they, destroy themselves or destroy their credibility? Unless they're not destroying their credibility, they actually gain credibility. So that kind of flips things on their head, right? It's a whole different thing. What if everything Gary Gensler is doing is literally mad, mutually assured destruction? He is destroying his credibility in the crypto sphere, or trying to destroy crypto sphere for a bigger agenda. He actually doesn't lose anything. He's actually gaining credibility, or he's gaining benefits somewhere else. That's the theory I have, because this is a very intelligent man. This man knows a lot. This man used to educate people, right? So he knows a lot about crypto. And, I'm seeing, like, when you start looking at certain scenarios and everything kind of falls into place, like connecting the dots, right? You end up with a bigger picture. That's what I'm seeing right now. So there was a bunch of dots that didn't make any sense, right? And now it's starting to make more and more sense, especially because of what BlackRock just announced, right? Or I'll talk a little bit more about. So Gary Gensler is very, very interesting, to me at least now. I don't think he has done this, to lose his respect or anything like this. Because the thing is yes, you got a bunch of people sitting in their basements or whatever, calling themselves all decentralized, kind of puppets and muppets. So don't take this the wrong way, but that's the truth, right? Who jump up and down with every news that comes out. So why not monetize on that? So that's what he's done. I think he's actually figured out a way to monetize on the bad news, because everybody knows whenever there's any sort of a news in the USA, securities, SEC or CFTC or whatever, right? And sorry, by the way, the last video I kept on mentioning CFDT. It was CFTC, Commodities Futures Trading Commission, right? So I got that wrong anyway. But just mumble jumble, because I'm freestyling, guys. I'm not looking at notes or whatever. Like some people, they sit there with a bunch of notes and they prep for the video. I don't prep. Like right now, I'm not prepping for it. Anyway, cut the long story short. So, so you've got this guy from SEC who's a brilliant mind, who's well connected in the industry. So he's not a small player. I mean, he's currently the boss of SEC. He does what he wants, right? So he's clearly got there because of the credibility he has. But is that credibility for the crypto community or for something bigger? And I think it's something bigger. So I looked at this and I was like, okay, when I see, it doesn't make sense. An intelligent man knows what the outcome would be. He has said many, many positive things about crypto, and all of a sudden now he just changes his mind and he says completely negative stuff, which is impacting the news. He's clearly monetizing on this particular agenda, and he's giving profits to somebody else. So could be people sitting out there trying to short BTC or short crypto, making money, right? That happens as well, because if they understand that his news will bring the market down, why not? Get ready, right? We're going to short everything because he's going to make an announcement. And it works because people are making money. And if people are making money, they might just gift him some or whatever, right? Something could be happening behind the backgrounds we don't know about. So that's what I'm seeing. And then obviously when BlackRock comes along and then starts buying into Michael Saylor's company, MicroStrategy, things start to look different, right? The picture now starts to make a little bit more sense, because it was blurry, right? It was just blurry. It was just a bunch of lines. I didn't really see any image there. I didn't see a clear picture, but I'm seeing a bit more clearer picture now. The blurred lines are gone now. So now we know an intelligent man running an organization, right, a critical organization to rules and regulations in the USA, has monetized on the news that he can actually send. So by monetizing on that, you can bring the market down. Company like MicroStrategy goes around and borrows against their company and gets funding, sells their stocks or whatever, produces more stocks, convertible stocks, whatnot, right? And grows in valuation, but at the same time gets one of the biggest giants on the planet, right? Literally on the planet, one of the biggest investment companies on the planet, BlackRock, buying their shares. So MicroStrategy shares go up, something looks good. Now we want to make everything bullish. So the bullish news starts coming out. Michael Saylor wasn't that active recently, but then now he's all over the big shows. Like, you got YouTube channels, this, that. He's making his appearances, he's doing live events and whatnot, pumping the life out of BTC again, because he also realized that he can monetize on that as well, right? So now that all the bad news is done and Gary Gensler is probably going to be kicked out, so the subject is about to be closed, well, what's the next news? The next news is good news. So now everybody's they got their bags filled, they're ready to pump the market. So while everybody was panicking because of Gary Gensler, so they're all connected, you see, they've bought the bags, they're ready to now pump the market. Because currently BlackRock, they wanted to buy the shares and get exposure to that. That's how they're doing it in the legal terms. They probably bought some for themselves already anyway, but I'm not even going to go there, right? That's a conspiracy, that's whatever theory, I'm not going to go there. But let's stick to this theory. So they're buying shares in MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy is now going out there marketing the whole thing, trying to get as many people, because MicroStrategy, or Michael Saylor to be specific, has a whole bunch of followers. So he knows that he can move the market in a positive way. So the market's ready to move. At the same time, BlackRock now comes into play, right? BlackRock says, well, okay, we're going to put a spot ETF application into the SEC, to the legal framework, and we want to basically open up a spot market. The biggest fund manager on the planet wants to do spot on BTC. I mean, guys, do you not do the maths, right? They have all the power, pretty much all the politicians, everything globally, and I'm talking about globally, in their back pockets. BlackRock can move countries if they decide to, and that's what they're doing right now. They've decided to pick on BTC in a good way, right? Which means that institutions will now pump millions, if not billions of dollars into crypto via BlackRock. So BlackRock ultimately wins a lot of money, right? Makes a lot of money. And anyone holding BTC right now, probably in 10 years time, I'm not going to say it's going to happen now, but over a longer period of time, I could see BlackRock making a lot of money, right? From, a lot of gains, let's just say gains from what they've just done now. So behind the scenes, I'm assuming they have bought plenty. In front of the laws, they've also bought some stocks in MicroStrategy, who's dedicated to BTC. That's what they're doing. So they're getting exposure through BTC that way. I'm sure they also probably got involved with Grayscale BTC as well. They probably have, and I think they did, if I'm correct, they did already. So we've got that already there. So they're heavily exposed, but now they're doing the whole thing themselves. And then Gary Gensler, who's now the chair, is an ex-employee of Goldman Sachs. And guess who owns Goldman Sachs? BlackRock. So if BlackRock was the previous boss of Gary Gensler, clearly there's a relationship, there's a connection there. So the picture's making sense. It's like, okay, so we were worried about institutions, or we were talking about institutions. Well, there's one institution, the giant of all the institutions, has literally just arrived and is going to get what he wants, right? They are going to get what they want. So whatever rules they're going to make is what the rules that you're going to see. So it just made so much sense. Like, okay, this is the long game they've played, right? Bring the market down to a comfortable level, buy as many BTC, crypto, Ethereum, whatever shit coins you can, and then sell it back to the retail and make even more money, because that's what they do, right? So that's what's going on. I looked at that, I was like, that makes more sense to me. Nothing else made sense. It was like, why would Gary Gensler, an intelligent person, do what he's doing, knowing the outcome, right? So I originally thought it was political, and it is still political, by the way. So all of this is politics, right? It's just a politics on a different level. It's financial politics, right? You know, it's about making the market gaining and massive gains and whatnot, right? So this is definitely political in that sense. So that's how I see this, is like, you know, a massive politics has been played with all the people in retail, right? They've monetized on news because too many people are too stupid. They react too fast to news. And for them, it's a win-win. It's like, whoa, okay, hold on. We can pump the market and everyone keeps on jumping in, buy high. And then we dump the market and they sell and they get out and we still make money. So they're making money either way, right? And that's what's been going on. And they've been using Gary Gensler as a tool. So Gary Gensler, I'm not sure what he's going to do. I'm sure he's going to be operating or running probably the ETF, right? He's probably going to be managing the ETF. That's what probably they promised him or whatever. I don't know. It's pretty crazy, right? When you start thinking about it, pretty crazy. So that's what's going to be happening there. MicroStrategy is a guinea pig. He's going to get Michael Saylor, the guinea pig. He's going to be marketing and he's going to make a little bit of money out of it. So happy days to him. Of course, he's already got his original amount. He's bought even more. He's accumulated more. He's going to be very wealthy. Does he really care? No, he doesn't, right? Who loses? Who? He doesn't care. So big players are playing a very serious game here with all the small players out there. And the small players still, and this video is not a financial advice or anything like this. I'm just trying to urge everybody to understand that, look, guys, we were at the forefront of all of this, right? And what I mean by that is before BlackRock came in, a lot of you guys already bought a whole bunch of crypto, right? You bought ETH, you bought BTC, XYZ. You bought these coins already. I'm not going to talk too much about altcoins and shitcoins. There's a different story about those, right? I've always mentioned whenever you buy an altcoin or a shitcoin, you make your money 10%, 20%, whatever, get the hell out, take your initial out, and then do whatever you want. At least that way you don't lose your money, because they are high risk. Doesn't matter what altcoin it is, if it's a blue chip, if it's a bloody gold chip, doesn't matter what it is, right? All altcoins come with a level of risk that they could easily go. Now, altcoins that survive massive downsides, right? Massive downsides. So altcoins who suffer big price fluctuations and are still working hard to be there and doing their best to be there and surviving the the bear market, they will always come during a bull market, right? So again, no financial advice here, but they do survive. Any of the survivors, they will shine in the bull market. And whereas in any company who has no intention, or in the beginning all they wanted was the money, right? Which is why I call them all securities anyway. So I agree with Gary Gensler in one aspect, that some of these are securities, right? So the guys who have sold their hearts and soul to the VCs, venture capitals, right, and raised hundreds of millions of dollars, they've already made their money from the first sale. So because of that, I think they should be considered as security, and they should be shafted anyway. So these companies have taken their money out. They don't care if the company survives or not. They're not working to survive there. Oh, we dumped, okay, fine, go, move on, next project, right? And a lot of these projects, that's what they're doing. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So that's what's going on. It's the same players. By the way, the little fish, right? The little guy who comes in and launches a ERC20, BEP20, or any equivalent, right, coin on any chain, He's only trying, right? Which means that 99.9% of the time, if he fails, he probably won't try again. That's all he's doing. He's just trying. Whereas in the big boys who are successful, who have the venture in the back pockets, right? So who are working with venture capital firms, Y Combinator, this, that, whatever, who are working with these companies, well, they're rinse and repeat. They're non-stop. Yep, that's fine. Let's launch another one. Yep, let's go, because we're making money here. We're making billions of dollars here. That's what they do. So just be careful when you do trade them. Now, coming back to normal standard crypto. So BTC, Ethereum, prices dumped, prices dipped. They bought their bags. They're ready to go, right? They're like, okay, we're ready now. I think it's time for us to go, because again, what they don't want to do is give all the people too much share. And I want to talk a little bit about this as well. This is crazy. So imagine there's 21 million BTC, currently about approximately 19 million BTCs already distributed in the market. 5 million of those is currently lost or whatnot, approximately, again, right? I'm not going to give you exact numbers. I don't have them here. I'm driving right now, so I can't give that to you. So, but approximate 5 million lost. So we know we have 14 million coins in circulation. Out of those 14 million coins, there are well-known wallets. We know, someone has 1 million, someone has 800,000 coins, someone has whatever. We know who has how many coins. Great. So we again know those numbers. And then the rest of it are just shrimps. Now, shrimps as in the small fish, the small guy, right? Millions and millions, hundreds of millions of wallets contain some BTC, right? Hundreds of millions, they contain some BTC. You forefronted every one of these institutions, right? If you bought before 2020, all right, or if you bought even now, right, before 2023 and 2022, end of 2022, 2023, you still forefronted all of them, right? You forerun them every single possible way. You were in the market before them, right? But when panic sets in and people get confused and people start selling and getting rid of it, I'm going to cut my losses and go. Never cut your losses. Never cut your losses. It's your asset. It's your piece of land. It's your building, right? It's your building block. It's your stepping stone, right? It's still yours. So why would you cut your losses? Obviously, you cut your losses because you came in speculating. If you come in to understand that, okay, this is my savings for the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, recommended 5 years. This is my savings. This is what I'm putting my money down for. And hopefully, in the future, I'm going to withdraw it. When I withdraw it, if it's the same, I'm happy, right? As long as it's not less than what I put in. And if inflation is calculated and I get my money, so, inflation is like 20% more and I get 20% more, great. We haven't speculated, right? So that's what's happening there. So that's how I think the market should be, right? Or people should enter the market. But too many people are getting in and we're going to make money today. Market's going to pop today. No, stop falling for the hypes. Sorry about that. I had to cut for a second. But yeah, stop falling for the hype, right? Because too many people fall for the hype. The emotional, give up. You don't need emotion in this, right? Be strategical and then you'll be fine. And this is what these guys have done. I'm sure they've bought it even cheaper. I'm sure they've bought it way back, but they just come out now because, again, there are certain times, there are certain scenarios where companies and institutions and organizations do not have to declare all of their expenses, right? So if in that scenario they've come along and they've bought small minor increments of BTC, right? And for them, small amounts would be like, I don't know, 10, 20, 100 BTC, 1,000 BTC, a million BTC, whatever. Point is they've been buying, accumulating, and now they're prepped to do a spot buy on that. Believe me, they're going to be making a shit ton of money. But plus point for us, BlackRock enters the market. People might talk about all sorts of crazy stuff. Like some people are going to be really, really bullish. Some people are going to be really, really bearish, right? Because whatever company BlackRock touches, ultimately BlackRock wants to make money, full stop, right? They're not coming in it for you. They're not coming to save BTC. They're not coming to do any of that stuff. They're only coming with one agenda, how to make more money for themselves. So they are going to do that. And that's where I'm picking up. And I'm like, hold on, if BlackRock wants to make more money for themselves, then they have to do one of two things. They have to get this market to a hyperinflated price, which they have the capacity to do so because they have the funding, or they have to be, what do you call this? They have to sell at a profit XYZ. Whatever they do, right? Ultimately, they're going to be pushing the B2C price up because they're in it for the money. When they make the money, the entire global system will end up making money. And a Bitcoin ETF, like a spot ETF, that's actually a very good thing. I've always talked about ETFs, and I said, look, there's fake ETFs. Who gives a shit about paper numbers? They're fake. Those ETFs that they have, the fake one, right? They're fake ETFs, right? Why would we want to even touch that? You know, we have 21 million coins. We want to know there's 21 million coins. If you're going to sell, you sell the, one of the 21 million coins. If you're going to buy, you're going to buy in the spot. That's what we want. We want a spot ETF. That changes everything, right? An exchange traded fund with spot. Brilliant. That's what we need, right? So yes, of course, the exchange doesn't do it for no good reason. They do it to make money. Ultimately, the whole ecosystem will benefit from that. That's how I look at it. So earlier on today, I posted something on Discord and I said, look, guys, I said something like, Bitcoin's new market cap is going to be $10 trillion. And I've got a feeling that's where we're going. But is it going to happen in a year? Is it going to happen in 5 years? Is it going to happen in 10 years? I really don't know the real answer to that. But I would like to speculate that maybe in 10 years time, right? We want to give it some time to grow, because 10 trillion right now, we're talking a 10x price, from where we are. And we're talking about the entire global market doing a 10x. In fact, if BTC was to do it, it would have to do a 20x from now. To do 20x is not a problem when people have money. But right now, with cost of living and all sorts of gas, this, that, whatever, you name it, all the drama that's going around the planet, people are suffering. People don't have excess funds. Governments and the economy, the government doesn't help you, right? A lot of these people currently are holding back. So yes, the big boys who have sufficient cash to throw away or burn, they are going to be winning. But a lot of the shrimps, right, or the guys the small guys, the small fish, the guys who probably just want to put $1,000 in, right, maximum maybe $1,000, maybe even $10,000. I don't know, right? But the point is these guys are already struggling with funding, so it's going to be a lot harder for these guys. And of course, having a spot ETF or whatever and this and that, we still don't know the framework behind it. So the framework maybe retail can't buy, right? Because I remember back in the days when Grayscale BTC, they did their Bitcoin, whatever they did, right, where you can buy Grayscale, only institutions were allowed. I think currently there are some rules for retail to go in, but again, I think retail needs to be verified in a particular way for them to enter. But again, it's limited. It's not unlimited to everybody, right? That's the whole beauty about having something decentralized or something open source, right? Where you can do whatever you want 24 hours a day, 365 days. There's nobody stopping you. But with KYC, it's fine. I mean, anyone can do KYC, right? When you do KYC, AML, and then have these restrictions, that's when things happen. Like, for example, I can't remember what the company is. I think it's CMC or something. I can't remember. My name's going out of my head, right? Again, I'll have me follow them. But so there's a company, they trade BTC, they say they beat a Bitcoin ETF. And they're 95. They're 95 in their region. So 95 in their region, does that mean they don't trade on weekends and they don't trade after 5? So a lot of the time, what we'll have is the data that whatever data they've collected, the ups and downs and this and that, there's on the chart, we'll always have breaks, right? So when we have that, then we'll have a rebalance later on, because the data is not live. Do you know what I mean? It's human input, right? So I don't know what the framework's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be, how it's going to be. But if it is on chain and it's a spot one, that's a good thing. That's all I can say. That does allow 24-hour tradability. Whether retail will be able to buy and sell, that's a different story. But I know institutions are definitely going to be on board. And that means that we're talking trillions and trillions of dollars on the table that the institutions will bring. Because everybody wants a little bit of exposure, right? So that's what's going to happen. And ultimately, everyone should benefit from that. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, if you watched it from the beginning, I hope you understand that for me, I'm just connecting dots, right? I'm just, I just couldn't get my head around why Gary Gensler would do what he did or is doing what he's doing. But then now it makes more sense. Now that BlackRock has come along, it just makes total sense to me. Maybe it's a conspiracy, but I'm not conspiring with anybody else. There's nobody else here. It's a theory. It's a working theory I mentioned on the last video as well. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just working on. I'm like, hold on, everything needs to make sense. Why would this happen? Is it political? Yes, it's financial political, and it's probably, other politics as well. Was it between CFTC and thing? I don't think quite so, but yes, definitely there is this kind of a push and shove that's definitely happening. Because when you do if you do ETF, then CFTC will be involved because you are an exchange, right? You are going to be trading. So I can see how this is going, and I'm just trying to add everything. I'm trying to prepare for it. So one of my things that I'm doing right now is looking at the news and asking myself, what are you going to do right now? All right. All of these things are changing. All of these things are happening. And these people are taking advantage of the news and, people's emotions. How would you react? That's what I'm asking myself, right? So I'm saying, well, what would you do right now? And so, it's easy for us to turn around and say, oh, I'm just going to hodl, or I'm going to dollar cost average and do that and this and that. But it's not that easy. I mean, even I'm finding it quite tough right now to fund some of my buys, because during this bear market, or, right now, this current situation, I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of money. I've been scammed. I've been robbed. And yeah, all sorts. So I've lost a lot of money. So for me right now, going in blind and getting all bullish and FOMOing in, I can't do that. So I've got to come up with a strategy and say, right, when do I want to buy? What do I want to buy? What's the strategy, right? Because I've got to have a strategy. So the way I'm looking at things is like, okay, BTC is currently sitting at 25,500, maybe is probably going to go to 26. Great if it does. But that doesn't give me confirmation because I already have a barrier, a resistance point, right? So for me, the major resistance is sitting at 30K. So what's $4,000 going to do, or $5,000 or $4,500 going to do? When it comes to BTC, it's nothing, right? So I looked at it that way. I'm like, okay, I might miss out on 10-15%, right? I might miss out, right? But is it really, really that important to me? Should I jump in now, or should I actually wait for a confirmation? So what I'm doing is I'm going to be waiting for a confirmation. Yes, I'm going to be buying 10%, 20% more expensive than everybody else, but I would rather have a confirmation in the market and understand that this is it. Now I'm moving forward and gain on that instead of risking funds right now, even though it's cheaper, right? I would love to. However, the complete opposite for Ethereum. Ethereum, I've got a feeling, may actually even go down to 1K. If Ethereum goes to 1K, then whatever money I've saved up for the BTC at 30K is what I'm going to be deploying, because Ethereum buying 1K, it's a no-brainer. You just buy as much as you can. So anything below $1,500, just buy. That's what I want to do. So that is something that I would dollar cost average in, because I see great opportunities for Ethereum. Also, I'm going to put one in there as well, Matic. Now, Matic, I am quite bullish about Matic. Matic has literally shown the middle finger to the SEC and regulations and whatnot. They're building Matic 2.0, which is going to be much more robust, and it's kind of going to be taking a lot of the nonsense away from the layer 2 scaling solution and become more independent of a layer 2 scaling solution. That's kind of different. So Matic was trying to help or doing whatever as a secondary layer on Ethereum, but now it seems like they want to become their own kind of a chain, which is independent from Ethereum, but functions just as good, if not with Ethereum as well. So that's something I'm looking at. That's something I am bullish on. Currently, Matic is like about 25% less than, or 20% less than the previous valuation. So that's a good discount. Does it have a potential to go down another 5-10%? Absolutely. I think another 5-10% definitely on the books. And whatever the case is, I would definitely love to dollar cost average a little bit into it, right? That's how I'm looking at this one. So that's it. And other than that, I mean, people will talk about USDT and this and that. Again, I'm not bothered about USDT. I'm not bothered about USDC. Those are just big dramas. There was a need for it. That's how it came about in the first place anyway, And they will always be a need, right? We are always going to need some form of a fiat peg currency, whether it be USDC, whether it be GBP, it doesn't matter. Whether it be JPY, it doesn't matter, because the fact is we always need something to compare with, if that makes sense. So USDT got lucky to be one of the first ones to come into the market and have a use case, because we needed that digital version of a dollar. And that's the because of how the dollars were, you couldn't really do anything. And again, I think the US markets, right, or the US regulators, the Federal Reserve, or whatever you want to call it, the money makers, right, they're all missing on something very big. They could literally be the one and only USD coin on the planet, right? And that will screw up USDC. We're talking about $30 billion. Screw up USDT, like $70-80 billion. So when you're looking at that, hundreds of billions of dollars could have been in the power of USD, right? Like United States, the dollar, actual dollar itself, right? So they have this opportunity, and again, they're not grabbing it. Literally, it's being handed to them, and they're still not grabbing it. You are the established coin. USDT was the most established. You could have taken that. Centralized banks could have taken control over that. Again, they haven't, because they're more concerned about, oh, how do we track you? Or how do we do this? Or how do we do... Literally the dodgy thoughts, right? So that's what's basically, that's the reason why they're shooting themselves in the foot. Anyway, so there will always be a need, and I think whether it be USDT, there'll be another one. It doesn't matter what it is, there'll always be something, right? We might have donut coin, right? And that's it. We just value it on a donut. So if a donut's a dollar, then it's a dollar. Whatever the case is, but the point is those are going to be a need, right? So that FUD really doesn't bother me at all. I'm not plugged in with all my funds in USDT. Whatever the current thing is, I'll stick around in that. So again, they're just more reasons for FUD, but most people should understand that you should not be sitting in, if you're going to be trying to sit in some form of a fiat, a digital fiat, you don't need to. That's all I'm going to say. You actually don't need to. So I hope you do understand this, that, yeah, digital fiat is something that you shouldn't be looking into. Other than that, guys, look, I've got a call, so I'm going to cut this short for this video. I know it's a long-winded one, but I hope like the dots that I've connected made kind of sense to you. If it did, great. If it didn't, then I apologize, right? I tried my best. But again, as I said, I'm driving, I'm doing my thing, just kind of talking my mind, speaking my mind. Other than that, there's really nothing else. So, yeah, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on another one very soon. And we'll talk a little bit more, but that's what I see. I mean, there's a bigger agenda here, guys. Bigger agenda. Nobody shoots themselves in the head, and literally that's what Gary Gensler's doing. And nobody shoots themselves in the foot. But that's what the US government is doing, or the Federal Reserve, or whatever the money makers they are doing. And it just doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't make any sense. Opportunities are there, and they're not